I once thought that becoming a full-time YouTube creator was just a dream. But in this 3-part masterclass, we're gonna be looking at some new data that reveals how small channels are going part-time or full-time faster, and how I actually went from struggling creator with no views to generating hundreds of thousands and eventually millions of dollars in YouTube revenue. But after a ton of trial and error, making tons of mistakes, and spending a lot of money on my education so that I could learn the skills necessary for YouTube, I eventually figured out what works. And as a result, I've gotten 3 silver play buttons and 1 gold play button, and I've grown multiple channels, plus helped a lot of people in our community generate over 24 billion views that we meticulously track here at Think Media. And here's what's fascinating. A recent study revealed it takes the average creator just 18 months to go full time. And even more surprising, these successful creators only have 4,000 followers across their channels. That's right, you don't need millions of subscribers to make this work. In part 1, we'll cover the timeline for going full-time on YouTube. We'll dive deep into the groundbreaking study that reveals exactly how long it takes to make YouTube your career, the real startup costs, and the proven path to sustainable income. Then in part 2, it's all about mastering YouTube monetization. You'll learn exactly how the money actually works, from understanding CPM and RPM to discovering the highest paying niches that most creators completely miss. And I'll show you exactly how channels like mine generate 6 figures or more. Then in part 3, I'll share with you 13 different ways to make money on YouTube, even if you have a new or small channel. The biggest myth is that you need a huge following to make money. I'll reveal 13 proven strategies to generate income, even if you're just starting out. And these are the exact methods that help me bridge the gap from struggling creator to sustainable success. But I gotta warn you, the opportunity on YouTube has never been bigger, but the competition has also never been fiercer. So what's the difference between failure and success? It's having the right strategy and information. And I'm gonna be sharing that with you in this deep dive masterclass. So sit back, grab a journal, something to drink, and let's begin. You gotta just press record. So if you wanna make a living full-time online as a content creator or with a YouTube channel, how long does it actually take? Well, a study was done that reveals a surprising answer. And in this video, we're actually gonna be covering the surprising follower count that you need to be a full-time creator, 10 different ways professional creators are earning money right now, and the average startup cost that it takes to launch a creator business. And this is actually from the most recent Content Entrepreneur Benchmark report from The Tilt, which was done in the last 6 months or so, I believe. And they revealed how long does it take to build a successful creator business. And so there's a couple things they talk about. These figures apply to content creators who spend most or all of their time working on their content business. So I think it's important to note here that this isn't if you're just dabbling. This is if you're going into this with a mindset to dominate. You're spending some serious time. You might be doing it as a side hustle, but nevertheless, you are actually focused, putting out quality content. You're doing this with purpose. You're doing this serious. Okay, so you launch at 0 months. The first benchmark is 4.9 months that they discovered. And that was when you earn your first dollar. I'm curious what your experience has been. How long have you been in the content creation game? How long have you been posting content on YouTube? Have you started yet? Right around 5 months, 4.9 is when the average person they surveyed earned their first dollar. It could be 5 months to get monetized. But they actually, in this report, we're going to look at some of the other surprising findings. And so that was kind of fascinating. You got to be in it at least 5 months before you even earn a dollar from your content business. Then at 12.3 months, revenue exceeds expenses. Interesting. Okay, there we go. The next one's 12.3 months where revenue exceeds expenses. Okay, so at this point now, you've been doing this for an entire year. Money has come in, you've continued to have money go out that you're investing, but right at 1 year, there's a little bit of profit. Then at 12.7 months, again, right around a year, switching to full time. So someone goes into, based on this report, to creating content, starting an online business, and it takes an entire year before they go full time, all in. And as a solo creator, that's what they just discovered here, because then at 18.4 months, they can fully support themselves And then at 18.8, they hire help for the first time. They also, in the Tilt, which did this report, broke down 3 categories of creators and was focusing in their studies on expert creators. So the 3 categories were maker creators, people who create content about their craft or hobby. They may monetize the content, but they also sell things. Think Etsy. So artists, craftspeople, chefs, homesteaders, the list is nearly endless. They run a different type of business, and they have raw materials and inventory, and they ship physical goods. Which of these 3 categories would you put yourself in? Let me know. So that's maker creators. Then there's influencers. I think we kind of all know the term, but these are people who operate personality-driven businesses that publish content to monetize their popularity and celebrity. They thrive on popularity, not necessarily skill or knowledge. Influencers in the center there would be entertainment. Maybe you're being followed because of lifestyle. And it's not, they say here, it's not as much of a business because it can't really be sold because it's tied to one person. But then the third category that they focus on at the Tilt, the people who did this report, is expert creators. I would say that's who we focus on at Think Media as well. It's people who create content about their area of expertise or passion. They build media companies, even small ones, and they monetize their content. Some expert creators also sell a service, coaching, consulting, or educating. So when we go back now to our previous slide where they revealed how long does it take to build a successful creator business, this is what we're talking about. And I think what's interesting about this timeline, let me know if you think this is fast or slow based on your experience. I think when you launch here, you're not launching with total confusion. I think you're launching with clarity, you're launching with strategy, and you're going into this with a plan. And even still, it's taking a year and a half before you can fully support yourself, switching to full-time, fully, having some margin on the money, and then even the ability to hire a few people, scale a little bit. And so again, they're talking about expert creators. Now, what was surprising to me was a couple other highlights from this study was that the research showed most creators have relatively small audiences. These are people doing this full time. In fact, I'll show you the numbers they're earning in the behind the scenes of their business on the next slide. But people who run their content business as a full-time endeavor have an average of just 4,000 followers across all channels. Just 4,000. Does that number surprise you? There is this whole term of micro influencers and nano influencers, and I think it's an underestimated term. Again, we're not talking about you just accumulated 4,000 subscribers because a random short about a random topic went viral. We're talking about you've built an actual audience community. If you've been around Think Media for very long, you're familiar with the 1,000 true fans concept. So I don't think 4,000 unique followers is that surprising. For most, it's not the size of the audience, but how deeply engaged they are with the content. And then they also say they have 4 unique channels. And then that 2 bring in direct revenue. One creator explains, it took me a few years to realize my time was best spent focusing on a few channels where my audience hangs out most. Once you narrow it in, it takes persistence and patience. And so trying to be everywhere is oftentimes a poor investment of your energy. I think if we were talking about 4 channels, what are your 4 channels? Me, YouTube number 1, YouTube number 2, number 3 for me is YouTube, and number 4 is Instagram. No, but my 4 channels would probably be YouTube first and foremost, hands down. Instagram would be a big second favorite. I think your average YouTube creator, professional, individual, friend relationship and professional relationship seems to be on Instagram. So just a good place to connect and take the conversation deeper. And it obviously lends itself to vertical video. So for me, if I'm ranking at this moment, I'm saying YouTube, I'm saying Instagram, I'm saying Facebook next. And then I'm saying my email list. It's not, is that a channel? I don't know. You tell me. Okay. Now here's what's interesting. How much do content creators make? So this is, of course, hard to narrow in on, but this is, and you might find that these numbers are surprising because they're saying gross income of 108,000 a year. But the creators they surveyed are those who spent most or all of their time working on their content business. So now they're talking about, okay, this person is a full-time creator. They might only have 4,000 followers. There was like 1,500 people or so interviewed for this study, But this is some fascinating numbers that you might want to wrap your head around. So they discovered that it takes $10,700 to launch a creator business. What does that mean? So if you're thinking about starting a channel from scratch, of course, you can just grab a smartphone and a laptop and start, creating content. But if you really sit down and you think, I want to build a battle station, and you think maybe I want to invest in a CRM email list, I want to start finding a way to schedule appointments or do coaching or consulting or host my online course, there's going to be some online tools, technical, some software. Maybe it's a vidIQ thing. Maybe it's some other things you invest in, right? Okay. So they're saying it takes about $10,000 to launch, 1 to 2K a year in annual tech expenses. They said 1K in year 1 through 3, and then 2K thereafter. Maybe that's maintenance of also software. I'm not sure. 108 top line revenue. If you do this full time, 108 top line revenue is pretty cool, but that's not like the job you work at pays all the expenses and you just take your salary home and invest that how you want. 108 gross, 108 top line revenue means then all of your expenses come out of that. And what do you have left? Well, they tell you $62,224. So $60K a year with take home after, getting to have a content business full time. There's a quote on here that say many people misunderstand being a content creator as a get rich quick scheme, which means they're not playing the long game, and that will eventually kill their business. Now, how are they making money? Well, there's 10 ways they list: coaching and consulting, number 1, books, number 2. Now, the tilt, and if you want to read this study, we'll link to it in the description below, but the tilt is focusing on content entrepreneurs. And to be clear, you can do that as a podcaster, you could do that as a writer, blogger, you could do that as a video creator. So I think that books is a little bit higher on their list, although I personally think that any serious personal brand builder should seriously consider writing a book, because it's one of the greatest power-ups for a personal brand. Online courses and workshops, affiliate marketing, links, advertising, sponsored content, how-to guides, speaking fees, paid membership, community, online events, and donations. They also talk about the top 5 most profitable, with coaching being number 1, books number 2. And it's interesting that even though paid memberships and communities were a little bit lower down the list and how often they were used, it is listed as their 5th for most profitable. So 10 different ways to earn money. How long does it take to build a successful creator business? About 1.5 years. If you know what you're doing, and if you're an expert creator, and that obviously experiences vary. But what are some tips for actually making it? This is all from a report from The Tip. Number 1, you want to think like an entrepreneur. Think like an entrepreneur. So this is interesting. We talk about this a lot at Think Media. It was summarized by Jay-Z, the philosopher and prophet, right? Who said, "I'm not a businessman. I am a businessman." And I think that one of the missing pieces for a lot of content creators, or people who just are accidental entrepreneurs, they come online, they start creating content, is they don't have a business mindset. They don't have business acumen. They don't think necessarily like an entrepreneur. They don't think like a business owner. And I don't blame you, because you just wanted to express your creativity and make videos. Nevertheless, if you want to start, run, and benefit from a successful business, got to ask yourself a question. How do you run a business? As opposed to just how do you make content that's successful? So think like an entrepreneur was number 1. And you know what's interesting is in this report, they said that non-creative tasks take up nearly half the time of professional creators. What does that mean? Well, if you've ever thought about it, unless you partner with somebody, which we'll link this up in the show notes. If you haven't listened to my episode with Layla Hermosi, she shares probably the most valuable insights I have ever heard about partnership, and with the advice that a lot of content creators should consider partnering with somebody to run the business side, because it's a whole nother skill set. But assuming you're going to do it by yourself, no if, ands, or buts about it. Non-creative tasks take up nearly half the time of professional creators. Spending time doing business necessities such as federal, state, and local certifications and tax responsibilities.
These obligations will suck up your time and profits as far as, you know, it could be meeting, logistics, emailing, all that kind of stuff. So when you think like an entrepreneur, you're not just a content creator. You're an entrepreneur, you're a business builder, and there's a whole nother set of skill sets. Number two, plan your budget and runway. If it's a 12 to 18 month runway, and remember, in this study, they were very clear. The people that they were surveying spend the majority of their time creating the content. So if you're like, man, I've been doing this 18 months and I am nowhere near, you know, full time or anything. Well, do you do it 40 plus hours a week? Or are you trying to do it when you have two jobs or kids or school or some other hustle, or, you know, you're a business owner? It's very hard time to find the extra content, time to create content. So when you're planning your budget and runway, the 12 to 18 month runway is how much savings. In some cases, if you look at the report, they did people who, you know, took a loan out or had some other way of getting money. But a lot of times it was just kind of bootstrapped savings. 12 to 18 months was the runway. Three, zero in on your audience. Remember, the more niche your audience and the more narrow your topic, the better the odds of success. Number four, start creating. Consistency is one of the biggest challenges for creators. You know, if we go back to this whole timeline that it showed us, I would think, not only are you doing this the majority of your week, but you're also consistent quality content, consistent vision, consistent mission, consistent message, consistent content, consistent brand, consistent value, building with your whole plan and your money plan all designed out. And that takes a year and a half. So again, I just try to kind of frame this up because I know that for some of us, you're like, well, I've been doing this for 18 months trying to figure out my thing. Great. It's just we're at different places, but that's very common. 18 months trying to figure out what is even my channel about, or experimenting a little bit, or what is, you know, that's a different path to be on. I think that if we think about consistency, we want to be consistent with our strategy, our content, our message, our brand. And if you don't know that stuff yet, no worries. That might even be like the pre-creating that leads up to the launch of your strategic channel. Number five, craft your monetization strategy early. We call it a money plan. We call it a business plan. And they say experiment with multiple revenue streams to see what your audience responds to, and then build up the successful ones. So, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And so if you're planning on having a financially successful creator business, what's the plan? Makes sense. So some good tips from the Tilt. That's where that report came from. I think they've done it 3 or 4 times. And so that's the most recent one, I think towards the end of 2023. So in this recent era. And I'm curious your thoughts, your takeaways, and where are you at? Have you already made your first dollar online? Have you just started? How many videos have you posted? And how many months or years into this thing are you? What do you think about their idea that it takes about a year and a half, 18 months to, you know, go full time in a creator business? Would love to hear your thoughts.
Coming up next is part 2 of this YouTube Money Masterclass. And I'm going to be going deep into all things monetization. The terminology, how to get monetized faster. You're gonna love it. But I wanted to give you a quick heads up of a cool opportunity we have right now to get YouTube Secrets, the updated 2nd edition of my book, for free. All I ask is that you pay shipping and handling. And if you click the link in the description or go to ytsecrets.com, you can get access to the book. You know, we're talking all about monetization in this masterclass, but this covers the 7 C's of YouTube success, all about views, getting your channel set up, all the different aspects of starting and growing a YouTube channel. But then in the second half of the book, there's a whole bunch of strategies for growth, leveraging trends, ranking videos. I think you're gonna love it. Now, you can actually grab the book on Amazon. It's also on Audible, the audiobook. But if you wanna get it free, just covering shipping, as well as some cool bonuses, just go to ytsecrets.com or click the link in the description while supplies last for this free promotion that we're doing. All right, let's dive into part 2 of the YouTube Money Masterclass. So how does YouTube monetization actually work? Why do some creators make more money than you? In this video, we're actually going to be defining some key terms. We're going to be talking about what is CPM, what is RPM, and some new updates to how YouTube pays creators. And we're also going to be talking about the 7 things that influence how much money you earn on YouTube, plus the 7 most profitable channel topics according to some research. And really, this is going to be a deep dive training. So buckle your seatbelt, and I'm going to be revealing how much money we have made at Think Media over the past 90 days and some of the insights we've learned from the different types of content that are paying the most. And so let's first define how YouTube pays creators. Once you get approved for the YouTube Partner Program, after getting 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time in a rolling 12-month period, or if you get 10 million shorts views in 90 days, you can qualify, plus having 1,000 subscribers, then you qualify to apply for the YouTube Partner Program. Once in, you can start earning money. And the first calculation of how you earn money on YouTube is CPM. Stands for cost per milli, and it's really cost per 1,000 impressions. Milli is 1,000, I believe, in like Roman days or something like that. And so it's the cost the advertiser needs to pay on YouTube for every 1,000 impressions their ad receives on a video. Now, an impression doesn't mean they've clicked through on the video. It just means that the ad was actually seen. There's an additional type of CPM, though, called playback-based CPM. So rather than calculating the cost an advertiser pays for 1,000 impressions, playback CPM calculates the cost an advertiser pays for 1,000 video playbacks where the ad is displayed. So let's simplify. What is CPM? CPM is basically the amount of money an advertiser is willing to pay to advertise on your videos. And this varies by industry. And we're going to clarify some of the highest paying industries, all the different details. And to be clear, this is the total amount of money that YouTube collects from a business or a brand that pays to advertise with them before there's any kind of split. And so it's being measured by 1,000 impressions and 1,000 video views. And it's also, I think, important to know that just because, let's say, you get 1,000 views, it doesn't mean an ad actually plays. Sometimes people use ad blocker. YouTube doesn't always force ads to play. Even if you check every box of monetization, it doesn't mean an ad will play. So without getting too much into the weeds, it's just if you're ever like, well, I got 100,000 views, shouldn't those all count towards monetization? Well, if it's playback based, it means that actually the advertiser is playing when their ad is actually displayed. So then there's a second term, like what's the difference between CPM and RPM? Well, if CPM is how much money YouTube gets total, so let's say a brand is like, I'm going to give you $100. RPM is how much money you, the creator, get. So YouTube typically, they say, is going to take 55%. Or rather, actually, we'll hit these numbers later and we'll actually maybe reveal why this isn't true. But what YouTube says is that YouTube will pay 55% of net revenues to creators. So they take 45, you get 55. We're going to dispel some myths later because I actually don't think that that is true. But you let me know if you're watching the video version of this podcast in the YouTube comments, what your experience has been in terms of like how much money you earn. But let's break it down. CPM is let's say YouTube, the YouTube collects $100 from a business. Well, then they would pay the creator, let's say $45 of that transaction, or it could be 30 or 50 or 60. But your RPM is how much represents the amount of money you've earned per 1,000 views. So RPM is kind of the more important number in a way. Both actually are worth measuring, but RPM, when it really comes to being able to pay your bills, pay your mortgage, you're going to need the money you actually collect, not just the money that YouTube collects. You're going to need YouTube to get some money from a business, and then they're going to give you your cut, and your cut is what you can actually deposit in the bank. Problem with RPM, though, is that RPM is actually based on several revenue sources. And I don't know if YouTube did this to mess with us, but it can be kind of confusing because it is YouTube ads. That would be the clearest, but it's also channel memberships. It's also YouTube premium revenue. It's also super chats, and it's also super stickers. Now, it's kind of nice at Think Media is these are not really income streams we lean on. We don't do channel memberships. We do earn YouTube premium revenue, and that so would everybody who's monetized It just means viewers that have YouTube Premium, ads are not being served to them. You pay for YouTube Premium to avoid ads. I'm a YouTube Premium user. So when I watch YouTube videos, every video I watch, if it's monetized, gets a cut of the pool of YouTube Premium revenue. I know, are we geeky yet? Buckle your seatbelt because we're really getting into the weeds here, but this is a deep dive training. And so the problem with RPM is you could be like, oh, cool, my RPM is really high. Well, if you're getting super chats, you're getting channel memberships, in my opinion, it kind of dilutes the number. Like I want to know what I'm just getting in the ads relationship. And I would love to just separate out these other streams of revenue. So here's a question. How much are creators actually earning? And Business Insider did an article. This will be a range. And we're going to talk about why this could be higher and lower. I know we have an international audience, different countries, different demos. They earn different amounts of money. But here's what Business Insider revealed. And these were RPM metrics. Creators said they got paid between $1.61 and $29.30 for 1,000 views on their long form videos. That's a big range. And that's the RPM. That's how much they actually earned. So depending on the niche or the topic, 29 is an insanely high RPM and 161 is not even necessarily terrible, but is obviously on the lower end. And depending on the niche or the quality of the content, it could be even lower. Let's try to simplify some things. Bottom line, if you ultimately were earning $2 per 1,000 views, and you got 1 million views and they were all monetized, you would earn $2,000. If you had a $2 CPM, you would actually, YouTube would take like half of that and you'd get the other half of it. So you get it, like RPM is how much you keep, CPM is the total amount that you share with YouTube. So if you had a $30 RPM and you got 1 million views, you would make $30,000. So these things really matter, obviously, in terms of how much is possible to earn. And the questions are, how do we increase this? And what are the best types of content? Now, in this Business Insider article, they also discovered that shorts make a lot less money. And the average there was creators were earning between 4 cents to 6 cents RPM for 1,000 views. And we've experienced that at Think Media. We earn 6 cents for 1,000 views at Think Media. That's our RPM on our shorts. But our RPM on our long form videos is much higher. And so in just a second, we're going to get into the 7 things that affect CPM, RPM, how to raise it. We're going to get into the most profitable niches. But let me reveal some numbers that only I know. And these are just Think Media numbers. At the time of recording the Think Media podcast episode that we're doing, this is January 2023 through almost the end of April. Not quite the end of April. There's 5 or 6 days left. Okay. So when I set a date range inside of my YouTube analytics, it'll fluctuate these numbers. This is a way to measure it. So I actually was able to go back and look at January, February, and March, and the RPM changed every month. But this is then when you use your YouTube analytics, you set a date range. I set a date range for roughly 3 months on our Think Media channel in 2023. Our videos had an RPM of $7.98. So for every 1,000 views, that's how much we get to keep on our videos. And fan funding during that entire time was only like $150. Because remember, if we had like a lot of live streaming and super chats was something we really focused on, or there was even channel memberships, so that those numbers are not really mixed with any other income streams. That's all just the amount of money we're earning from ads on our videos. Our shorts during the last 90 days earned 6 cents. And our live streams had an RPM of $15.27. Now, disclaimer, I don't think the lesson there is that live streaming inherently pays more. My prediction is, from what we've seen at Think Media, that when I go live with like deep dive trainings that are also very educational and they're about YouTube, making money online, very tactical, and I think they attract an audience that's probably similar to you, someone that's smart, wants to learn, serious. You're not just looking for fluff entertainment if you're listening to this deep dive about CPM versus RPM. So apply the insights to your channel or test it how you will, but that's pretty legit. So when I go live And the replay values of my live streams are good, and they're long. That's maybe helpful as well because they could be closer to an hour. There's multiple ad spots. But even that being said, it wouldn't necessarily mean the RPM is higher. It just mean that more ads are served. So that's it. Around $8 per for videos, around 6 cents for shorts, and $15 for live streams was Think Media over the last 90 days. Now watch this. CPM over the last 90 days was $20.49. So as I'm able to look, I'm looking at Think Media. The reason I like CPM in terms of studying things is just to understand, hey, what's the channel worth? It's not what our cut is, but it's like, what is our content worth? What is the value of our content? What are advertisers willing to pay to advertise on our content? And it doesn't necessarily mean advertisers are picking out to advertise on Think Media, although they could be. They're looking for a particular demographic, maybe particular keywords. It's a bidding marketplace that advertisers pay to get in front of certain audiences. And so because it's a bidding marketplace, things get bid up, supply and demand, competition. So Think Media in the last 90 days was worth $20.49. But now let's kind of do the rough math. If we only earned $8 RPM, then we earned 39% and YouTube earned 61%. Now, I've been in the YouTube game for a while. As far as I'm concerned, to me, that doesn't seem to be that YouTube will pay me 55% of net revenues. Apparently, I'm getting paid 39% of net revenues. Now, if you're watching this, or especially if you're listening to this, you can't really comment on the audio platforms. But if you're watching this, leave me a comment because maybe there's something I don't know. If you're from YouTube, I'd love to understand this more. And by the way, I ain't even mad about it, but we earned 39% according to my horrible math probably, and YouTube took 61%. So when they say this, and they say this on the Google page, that when you turn on ads, YouTube will pay you 55% of net revenues for ads displayed or streamed on public videos on your videos. So that's long form content, not shorts, okay? Or just normal videos, not shorts. So there you go. And that's how I come to that conclusion. I look at what our CPM is, I look at what our RPM is. And if you're like, well, I'm making like 80%. Well, is your RPM mixed with super chats, super stickers, YouTube premium revenue? That's something to consider. And ours really isn't. And so let's go a little bit deeper before we get into some of these tactics and tips. But here's also in the last 90 days where our money came from. I'm going to give you the total. This actually might have been 4 months, January, February, March, April. This is actually 4 months to be clear, like 5 or 6 days short of 4 months for all of these numbers. Okay, fan funding, we earned $150. Not a lot of super chats or anything. That's all it would have been. Maybe people doing the thank yous, and we never ask for them, and we really don't go live that much. Okay, shorts feed ads. So this would be the proper ads playing in the shorts feed. Over 4 months on our content, $1,197. YouTube Premium, $4,280. Watch page ads, your standard in-stream ads on normal videos, $151,098. So in Think Media's case, our normal videos with our close to $8 RPM, that's where the game is in terms of making real money from YouTube ad revenue. The total for almost 4 months in 2023 for Think Media was $156,727.21. Not too bad. So, and as you can imagine, it's good money, but Think Media is also not a solo YouTube creator anymore. We have multiple creators, editors helping now, graphic design. So it is also kind of important for a channel like ours. That's if you could imagine the same kind of content or the same kind of numbers or the same kind of reach. I don't actually have the amount of views that we got in that time, forgive me, because that would be interesting as well, but at least gives you kind of an idea, CPM, RPM. And so let's talk about then ultimately what influences how you could raise your CPM. Remember, that's not how much you get to keep, but nevertheless, let's make that top line number as high as possible. And you can't affect the percentages in the middle, right? The RPM, like how much YouTube's going to give you a cut. I can't think of one activity I could do, but if I can get a higher CPM, meaning what advertisers are willing to pay, then YouTube is going to distribute whatever they want to me. And the caveat for this whole thing is why I 100% recommend you monetize in other ways other than ad revenue. Like if you haven't watched our free class at thinkmasterclass.com, you definitely want to diversify your income. That's actually why I'm not mad about it. Creators probably are a lot more angry about some of these things. Like, wait a minute, I didn't get 55%. Why is this going up? Why is this going down? You got to take your destiny into your own hands. You cannot put the keys to your kingdom in the hands of YouTube ultimately. Nothing but love and gratitude for this free platform, for the opportunity to reach people, for all of the cool technology, upload 1080, 4K content, 8K content, reach people. YouTube's amazing. And I don't think we should feel grateful, not entitled. But I think where a lot of anxiety comes is if you only rely on YouTube ad revenue, it's going to be hard to sleep at night, even if you're really successful, because it can be high, it can go up and down. But nevertheless, $156,727 is a big piece of, maybe not even a big piece. It is a significant piece of our Think Media ecosystem. So how can we grow our CPM, and how can you increase the CPM on your YouTube channel? Number one, the geographic location listed on your channel. So did you know that where you live determines on how much money you make on YouTube? Some countries have larger economies than others, and that abundance translates to YouTube. Now, actually, by the way, vidIQ did a cool article, and that's where I pulled these 7 things and combined it with some of my other research. I will admit that you might feel limited by, okay, well, my country pays a lower amount of money, but my studies have revealed that it's actually where your audience is a little bit more than where your actual channel is listed. Like, for example, what if I started going nomadic and I started traveling the world and I'm uploading in Thailand and Vietnam and Australia and I'm just traveling, but Think Media is based in the United States? Maybe it's where your channel is started, but the big key is where your viewers and what is the economic spending of your viewers. In fact, who do advertisers want to reach? But number one is geographic location of your channel. Number two is the age of your audience. Advertisers want to be where money flows. So what is their age? Think about this in terms of their buying power and then their buying behavior. Not only how much buying power do they have, how much disposable income do they have, and what is their buying behavior? This is why you might say, well, I wish rich people watch my content on YouTube. Are you creating content that attracts affluent people? This is why getting clear on your target audience and reverse engineering the kind of content you create is key. And advertising ultimately is about getting the right message in front of the right people. Put on the shoes and put on the spectacles of the advertiser, the brand or business that wants to reach a target audience. Would they want to advertise on your channel? And besides your channel topic, in terms of the quality of your content or who you're talking to or who's watching, whose attention can you hold? Whose respect can you hold? It's the challenge of, like, you as a 20-year-old life coach, you may not actually be influencing a lot of 40 and 50-year-olds. They just might not trust you to coach them on life, which is fine. It would be just being aware of, okay, the content I'm creating, who's it actually influencing? Now, if you were a 20-year-old curator of financial experts like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, and you were doing a faceless channel, the audience consuming that content might be people in their 35 and above, 45, 55, that want to learn tips on investing, and therefore you're getting paid more because you're talking about personal finance, because advertisers want to get in front of people that are watching that content. So there's different ways to look at, okay, who's watching my content? What's the geographic location? What is the age of my audience? 3, what is your YouTube niche or industry? So what are the most profitable topics on YouTube? Now, there are many, and there's a lot of opportunity, but there was some research done by a creator that discovered 7 niches that make the most money. And here they are: health, business, investing, auto reviews, real estate, insurance, and online marketing. And this data was collected by studying CPMs in different niches across Russia, the US, Canada, the UK, Germany, Australia, and India. So global, deep dive study. What are the highest CPMs? Health, business, investing, auto reviews, real estate, insurance, and online marketing. So what are the most profitable topics on YouTube? Now, if you were trying to financially position your channel to have the greatest advantage, it would be smart to pick a high-paying industry, not just for CPM perhaps, but because of brand deals, sponsorships, and other opportunities. It doesn't mean, however, though, that you'd have to be in one of those 7. I think you understand that, but it could also speak to the financial upside or lack of upside at least in terms of how much you're going to make from ad revenue. So one of the questions that you should be thinking is how much are businesses willing to pay to advertise to this demographic? If you think about it, if it's auto reviews, someone's actually going to buy a car, and if it was a loan product of some kind, perhaps, or if it was insurance of something like that, that'd be a lucrative audience to advertise in front of. It might be harder to sell auto insurance on a Minecraft playthrough video. So again, that's the thinking we want to develop. And so think about this. What products are being sold to this audience? If you're selling medical services to baby boomers, they need a lot more medical services. Medical and health services are incredibly expensive. Think about cancer treatments. So sometimes the CPMs of the health industry can be $50, $60, $80, $100 plus. People that are doing investments or getting loans to Gen X. So now we're combining just age and industry. What about SaaS solutions for business owners? SaaS stands for software as a service. What about luxury cars? What kind of content has an audience that would purchase luxury cars? And then what about fast fashion and drugstore makeup? What kind of content maybe does have a high margin business still, but it's more like, even if it's more affordable products, fashion makeup? What about app downloads to gamers with in-app purchases? Maybe that's not as much of a high CPM, but it's a massive reach. So typically, if you go into something like luxury, you have smaller amount of buyers, a smaller audience, but a higher value. And then on the flip side, if you go into something like gaming or mobile gaming, you have millions and millions and tens of millions of customers potentially, but maybe the amount you're earning, the CPM per view, and even the economics of the app itself, it's a one-to-many play. It's a digital good, it's in-app purchases. So they're willing, a brand is willing to, their cost of acquiring a customer is a lot lower than somebody that is the cost of acquiring a customer for a retirement home or for a cancer treatment. Number 4, seasonal changes in your niche or your industry. If you're ever wondering, why is my CPM going higher or going lower? If you're ever concerned about, man, why is my ad revenue going down on YouTube? One of the things to know is that it does fluctuate through seasons, which is out of your control. In fact, there's many external factors. Some certain seasons it just goes down. There's also times when advertisers spend more, they spend less. There's times when the US government was printing insane amounts of money and the whole stock market and businesses and everything was just getting absolutely inflated. And so everything inflates during a season like that. Unless you are Jerome Powell and you work at the Fed, you can't really influence that. So there's certain seasonal things, and then certain niches go up or down. So perhaps in January, you have a fitness channel or health, and it's related to somebody thinking new year, new you. And lots of people want to get in front of them at the end of December and the end of January with health products, because people are thinking diet, they're thinking lose weight, they're thinking get fit, they're thinking productivity, they're thinking goal setting. And so your content might go through the roof during that time. And then there's maybe other times where by February and March, people are like, I gave up on my diet. I gave up on my goals. I gave up on my productivity. I gave up on my fitness. And so CPMs are going down and it's out of your control. I have a tech channel, right? Think Media talks about cameras, tech. And during Christmas or even pre that, you go Black Friday, Cyber Monday, our ad revenue usually, not only usually, always is high towards the end of the year, as it's that season where a lot of people have sales, holiday sales. So that's number 4. Number 5, the types of ads placed on your videos. When you get monetized and you upload a video, you can say turn on ads, and then you can go into monetization and you can check boxes of the type of ads you want played on your videos. We typically, and sometimes by default, I think just all the boxes are checked. But a key here is you could, for example, say, I never want non-skippable ads played on my videos. Have you ever watched those? Like you have to watch the full 15-second ad or the full 30-second ad. I never want that. I only want skippable. What I've learned is I just check them all, because what I've also learned is they just don't always play. Like YouTube is curating the viewer's experience. They want to push ads to make money, because that is how YouTube, owned by Alphabet, the parent company of YouTube and Google, that's how they make money. But they also don't want to spam people with so many ads that they lose goodwill. And it's probably attention that's constantly being managed. That's just why non-skippable ads are not always playing, or it's up to YouTube basically. So I just check all the boxes, but here's a key. I went into the last about 4 months of Think Media, and close to 80% of our ads were skippable video ads, and 6% were non-skippable, and 6% were display ads, and 4% were bumper ads, and 4% were non-skippable ads. And so the way you see this is you go to analytics, revenue, watch page ads, which is how different ads make money. And if you say, Sean, why does this matter, or what should I do to influence this? I would say probably nothing. I personally would just check all the boxes and let YouTube do its thing and focus on making your next best video. But the key is that different ads pay different amounts. Number 6, made for kids content. If you check the box that this content was made for kids, and if the content was made for kids, you should check the box. A couple years ago, YouTube was fined $170 million for violating the Children's Online Privacy Act. This law states that websites can't collect personal information from users under 13 years of age. So that means that if you have a kids channel, it essentially means that you're going to make less ad revenue. So YouTube isn't allowed to collect personal data from most children or from children. And as a result, those views are not going to be as targeted as other views. What does that mean? It means that users that are over 13, you've probably seen this, all the websites you're going to, all your activity on Google, all the other watch history of videos you're watching, everything you're doing, even other data about you through all kinds of different tactics. Google knows a lot. Meta knows a lot about maybe how much money you make roughly, or what your habits are. They know a lot about you, right? And it's a whole privacy conversation. But what the law states, the Children's Online Privacy Act, is that businesses are not allowed to collect that information about people under 13. Okay, so if that's true, all these advertisers are willing to pay $100 CPMs to reach baby boomers that are maybe even of a certain economic level to get a certain medical solution in front of them. Cool. Kids, they go, okay, we know these are children, but that's all we know. Like, we know they're under 13, so it just does not command as high of CPMs. So the bottom line is just like, if your content is for people under 13, you should check the box that this content is made for kids. But if you have a kids channel, that is a factor that could be driving your YouTube CPM way down. And don't sweat it. I know that could be stressful. I wish the world was different. Wishing things were different than they are has turned out to never really be much of an effective strategy. I think you just kind of embrace the reality. Well, should I not do a kids channel? Well, that's up to you. But if you can put out great kids content, you could get millions and millions of views. You could still make good money. If you put out great kids content, I hope Blippi is checking the box for made for kids, because I think it is. And obviously it's a pretty crazy case study, but Blippi's got the fake Blippi. You know that guy? Have you seen him? Like, it's not the real Blippi. I happen to be a Blippi expert now that I have a 2.5-year-old. You've got Blippi's YouTube channel not only blew up, he hustled, he started building it, but then you've got action figures, you've got biz dev, you've got Netflix shows. Now you have Blippi and Mika. You have all of this. He's scaled an empire. Well, you can build your empire as well. So remember that CPM is not everything and ads are not everything. Building a brand, becoming known. At the end of his episode, he goes, let's spell it out together. If you're ever looking for more Blippi, let's do it. Blippi. Like, my son doesn't even know how to spell or letters or words, and he knows how to spell Blippi and find him on my smart TV. Like, branding, right? And so even if your CPM is driven down because of kids content, it's okay. We're going to be okay. You can adapt and create the ideal strategy for your YouTube business model, your target audience. However, these 7 things could be very helpful for us, right? For making informed decisions about our content in the future. Number 7, how safe are your videos for viewing? The content in your videos can drive your CPM down. So there's an article that Google has out of what content is not suitable for ads or will result in limited or no ads when it comes to monetization. So there's 2 things that could happen if you have questionable content in your videos. Number 1, ads are just disallowed completely. Or number 2, they're limited or no ads, which typically tanks you might make it, instead of making 10 or 20 grand a video for big creators, they'll make $2 grand. significantly throttled amount of money. So here are some of the main topics that are not advertiser friendly. And this is not even an exhaustive list, but it's quite a bit of things. So these things can drive down how much money you earn from YouTube. Inappropriate language, violence, adult content, shocking content, harmful or dangerous acts, hateful or derogatory content, recreational drugs and drug-related content, firearms-related content, controversial issues, sensitive events, incendiary or demeaning content, tobacco-related content, and adult themes in family content. So the summary there is PG-13, family-friendly content is going to have the greatest opportunity for the most ads. This is a whole conversation in and of itself because some creators who have more adult-themed content they say, well, there's a lot of brands or businesses that would want to reach our audience. But my rebuttal to that would be, yeah, and that's why you can do brand deals. And that's why you can do your own thing and you can build your own platforms other places, or you build an email list and you can sell email drops to sponsors. But I empathize. I mean, I see the frustration is sometimes these things are unclear, or sometimes you don't know why your video has limited or no ads. But nevertheless, if you want the safest bet of not having limited ads on your YouTube videos, then being thoughtful of those types of keeping inappropriate language and violence and harmful content out of your videos would be an important factor for just avoiding any of that drama and any of that trauma. So ultimately, what questions do you still have about monetization? Let me know, especially if you watch this on YouTube where you're able to comment. If you are part of our audio community, then it would mean the world to me if you reviewed the podcast on Spotify or you left a review and rated this on Apple. Seriously, if you got value out of this episode, that would go a long way for all the research that went into it. And we covered, these 7 different distinctions of CPM and 7 most profitable channel topics in there, and also how much we made at Think Media. So we covered a lot. So save this one. All right, we're about to jump into part 3 of this YouTube Money Masterclass, but I do want to just thank you for watching the video this far. I know this is a deep dive educational training video, and you're a legend for being here. I appreciate that. Smash the like button if you haven't yet. And I can't wait to get into the 13 different ways, including some new ones, to make money on YouTube. But I did want to give you a heads up about a free class that I have that covers the views side of YouTube. If you have all these money strategies, but your channel's not growing and you're not getting the views, then ultimately you're not really gonna make that much money, right? So if you really want to learn what's working on YouTube right now to get views, and my favorite strategy for posting videos today that get views for weeks, months, and even years to come, it's really, really cool. I break it all down in a free class at thinkmasterclass.com. So if you want to watch that after this video or just click the link in the description, then you can access that on demand. I just updated it and I think you will love that exclusive class that's typically reserved for some of our paid programs. But whether that stuff's right for you or not, might as well check out the free class. Thinkmasterclass.com is where you can see that. All right, let's get into part 3. I'm going to be covering 12 different ways to earn money on YouTube, even if you have a small channel or you're just starting. I'm also going to be covering some new ideas that are available in 2024 that really nobody is talking about yet, and some of the best opportunities for earning significant money, even with a small following, and some changes that YouTube has made to the YouTube Partner Program. But first, we need to define what even is a small channel. Well, when it comes to what's called influencer marketing, there's a term called micro influencers and nano influencers, and there's massive opportunity for those that fit into this category. So a micro influencer is widely understood to have anywhere between 10,000 subscribers up to 100,000 subscribers. Now you might be in that range and there's tons of opportunity, but a nano influencer is somebody with anywhere from 1,000 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers. Now, there are many stories in our community and some of our peers of creators that can sometimes get deals, and most of the ways we're talking about have nothing to do with brands. But even with less than 1,000, there's some opportunity. But I think things really get interesting as soon as you get to that 1,000 subscriber mark. And here's what Influencer Marketing World said. They said that there's great news for nano and micro influencers right now because they're becoming a larger part of brands' budgets as the industry evolves. So buckle your seatbelt and listen to this entire episode because it's packed full of value to start making money, even if you have a small channel. And today's episode is brought to you by tube1kchallenge.com. We have our free upcoming 5-day challenge. That's actually all about how to get your first or next 1,000 subscribers and how to generate your first or next $1,000 with your YouTube channel. It's entirely free. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later, but you can check it out and register with the link in the show notes. So let's dive into number one of our 12 different ways, and that is affiliate marketing. Now, this is my favorite way to start earning money when you have a small channel because the barrier to entry is probably the lowest out of all the different opportunities. You don't need to qualify for the YouTube Partner Program. In some cases, you don't even need to have uploaded a video yet. There are affiliate programs that will at least approve you to start promoting and sharing links and earning money if anyone clicks and buys anything. So it's a really cool way to get started. So we're on the same page. What you do is you sign up, then you have to get approved. Then you can start sharing your specific links. If someone clicks on that and purchases something from that website, you get a commission. So I signed up for the Amazon Associates program on my channel, Think Media, where I review cameras. If I review a camera, let's say it's $1,000, I put an affiliate link in the description. Someone clicks that link and purchases the camera, I get 4%. So I would earn $40 off of that person purchasing that camera. And I love this because I don't have to worry about shipping or returns. I don't have to worry about setting up an e-commerce store. I really get to do a low amount of work. There's also kind of a cap on affiliate marketing. If you think about it, I'm only earning 4%. So as we cover other money-making strategies, this isn't like the only, in my opinion, but it is a good way to get started. And in full transparency, if you want to get approved for, let's say, the Amazon Associates program, there's usually a human reviewing your application, and chances are you need some momentum. I encourage your channel has a cover, it's branded, you probably have like 5, 10, 30 videos uploaded, some momentum. There's no magic number, but you're getting some views, you've got some subscribers. And so there's certain programs that will deny you. But there's also programs that will approve you, even if you have, again, a smaller channel. Like I think about one of our VRA students, Lee from Stray Reviews. So he helps people find men's lifestyle gear. And his angle is like, I'm not just making low quality videos off of like AI wrote the script and I haven't tested the product. His pitch is these are real reviews, not just unboxings or repeating the manufacturer's description. He actually tests and puts the products to the test, pass that information along to the viewers. And so one of his videos, best performing video last year, was the best mock toe boots for me. Red Wing versus Grant Stone versus 2 other brands. He got 22,000 views. He's approved for Amazon and these specific retailer websites. So in some case, these mock toe boots are sold directly like the Grant Stone website. And then sometimes they're maybe sold in multiple places, also on Amazon. So he'll sign up for all of the above. His channel is under 3,000 subscribers. And in our private group, he was talking about affiliate marketing. It's been very lucrative for me. And I know that's not a brand new channel, but again, he's in that nano influencer arena. So affiliate marketing is a great way to get started. Definitely subscribe. And I'll link to a playlist in the description of some of our best affiliate marketing videos. And one specific strategy here is what we call RSP. This does naturally align with RSP, which stands for review specific products. So this strategy is really great if you do a video that's like, what are the best X for your topic? Like, what are the best accessories for a certain type of fitness, or what are the best kitchen accessories? So maybe not every niche can apply affiliate marketing, but I would argue 99% can. If it's software, if it's physical products, if there's an e-commerce website of any kind, there's probably an affiliate program. And I'm actually going to be teaching deeper about the RSP strategy on our free challenge that's starting soon at tube1kchallenge.com. But let's go to number 2. Number 2 is brand deals and sponsorships. This is where you partner with relevant brands to your channel topic, to your personal brand, to feature their products or services in your videos in exchange for payment or free products or a combination of both. What's cool about brand deals and sponsorships is what we mentioned at the top of the episode. Brands are more than ever working with micro and nano influencers because rather than, let's say, give $100,000 to a bigger creator for a featured video, they're seeing that, let's say they distributed $1,000 each to 100 nano influencers. They're able to then spread their influence across a lot of different creators, kind of mitigate downside risk for themselves as a brand. And what they love about
these smaller micro and nano influencers is a lot of times they have much more connected audiences. Maybe they only have, again, less followers, but more passionate followers. They are able to more closely care for their following because they don't have this mega following. So they're very engaged. And maybe those creators, hopefully you, are more open to maybe doing some customization in terms of the content you create for them. And there's a lot of other ways you could increase your pitch value because it's not just based on your influence. Maybe they want the rights to be able to use the video you make on their own website. And make sure you're subscribed because we're going to be covering brand deals and sponsorships in future episodes and some tactics. But that would be number 2, which leads us to number 3, which is product placements. This is where you subtly showcase relevant products within your videos without directly promoting them. This is kind of a different angle of brand deals and sponsorships. And this probably wouldn't be a one-off thing a small creator does, but this could be a part of your pitch as you get educated. You start realizing it's not just selling your influence, right? It's not just selling, I'll do a dedicated video for you. There's like 10 things you could sell. You could sell the ability for making a video that they could use on their website. You could sell the rights to do paid media. Maybe they want to use your video in some kind of an ad. Not only are you also promoting their product, but maybe they also want even some consulting. Creators as consultants is a big trend because they don't know even what you know. Like they just know about their product and they know they want to grow their business, but they're looking for your expertise or the creator's expertise to create maybe a higher quality video with them. Maybe they want to use that video on their Amazon page. You know how there's videos on Amazon when you click through all the images and the brand's commercial, there's also like creators. So we'll be covering this in future episodes, but this is the thinking of where a small creator can start making some good money. Because the only thing you have leverage on is not just your influence. Because you're like, I only got 1,000 subscribers. Well, there's like a lot of other things you could include in that pitch that could be helpful. And when it comes to product placements, the other big idea is maybe signing a 3 or 6 month or year-long contract. And half of that might just be like you wear our t-shirt or like we see the brand logo in the background of, the shot or something. And that is something that you've monetized. A couple tips here is 1, you definitely want to work on your pitch to brands and work on your negotiation skills. And then 2, this is a powerful reason to also over time, network a little bit. This is a good use case for using Twitter, X, or LinkedIn to start to get to know of brands you dream of working with someday. You can find the chief marketing officer, influencer marketing person, maybe start to network with them. And it's a powerful reason to go to strategic events because sometimes getting face-to-face with the people that work at brands can help you describe your unique value you could add, again, beyond just your amount of subscribers, your maybe video production capabilities or ability to make a raw, authentic ad for them or something like that, which brings us to number 4. And this is one of those kind of new strategies that nobody is talking about, and it's creating UGC for brands. So there's a new term called UGC creators. Now, what does UGC mean? It stands for user generated content. For probably about a decade, brands have realized the power of this, that maybe you buy a sweatshirt or a Stanley mug or something like that, and you're putting it on your Instagram stories, you're sharing it in your YouTube channel. You've promoted something as an affiliate and done a product review and you weren't paid by the brand, but maybe brands reach out, they follow a hashtag, they see where they're tagged, they ask for permission because the user created content. They're like, hey, could we use this? Could we feature you on our Instagram page? Could we do that, right? Well, there's a new way for small creators to make money is actually positioning themselves as a UGC creator. And so really what it is you're a creator that's in charge of promoting original videos, images, reviews, comments, or other forms of media. A UGC creator is a content creator who specifically creates content that looks like UGC, but it's been paid for. Unlike influencers who actually need to grow their community before they start working with brands, because that's what you think, right? That's the myth. Oh, if I don't have 10,000 subs or 50,000, brands don't want to work with me. UGC creators don't need a ton of followers, nor are they obligated even to show their face. Because again, these brands don't have the camera you have, or the smartphone you have, or the skills you have, or the understanding of marketing you have, or hooks, or angles, or storytelling. And in one sense, your YouTube channel becomes more like a portfolio than it becomes like a place of influence at the start. So your portfolio shows what you're capable of. And now you didn't
believe you could be paid $3,000 for a video. Well, you can, because they're not paying for your subscribers. They'd be paying for the video you're able to create for them. And so this is not technically organic like UGC is, but the reason UGC has worked so well is because it's content created by real fans. So I think the thing here is, done ethically, you're already a real fan of a particular brand. You've developed a particular set of skills. So in one sense, you're essentially a freelance content creator that's being hired to create raw content. You know, my wife and I are watching Fargo season 5. It's unreal. It's a true story. Really good season. And we've been watching it on Hulu. And I don't know if there's a higher level that I could pay for where I don't get ads, but for some reason I still get ads on Hulu. And so I saw an ad recently for HelloFresh, the subscription box company. And the way the ad looked on TV, I'm watching this on my smart TV with my wife. It's not like fancy cameras and like overproduced content. It was like a compilation of cell phone shot content of people opening their boxes in their house, people being like, this is so tasty, this is so good. And I have a feeling it was all UGC creators, because it had that feeling of like raw, organic product review, real people experience on the product, you know, but at the same time, it was an ad on Hulu. And so this is something to think about that's out of the box of what most people are talking about. And we'll be covering this more in the future as well. And you can look up UGC creators, which brings us to number 5, licensing your content. And so this one's a little bit more rare, but it's all the more relevant. Some of the biggest stories of this in our community have been travel creators. If you're already traveling, you're already on the road, you've already invested in a drone, you already have a GoPro, or that's something you're thinking about doing. It's not just upload your video to your YouTube channel. You went to all the work to fly there and film all the crispy footage, but you have to understand the value of that footage that could be licensed to somebody else that wants to use that content. This takes a particular set of skills and some networking, and it might involve you posting some things and then brands reaching out to you. But for this one to work, you got to put a little hustle into this, figure this out. But it again could be very lucrative. And if you start thinking about the value of the content itself, another lesser talked about angle on this is thinking about these stock photography and videography websites. If you're great at filming clips of cool stuff that other people would want to use, that B-roll that you may have used in your own vlog that early on you're making like nothing for, now you could upload that to stock photography, videography websites like an iStock photo. And if it's approved and if it's downloaded, you could earn money on that. And so that's number 5. Number 6 is fan funding. This platforms like Patreon allow fans to support your channel on a monthly basis in exchange for exclusive content or rewards. I do recommend Patreon. I think they take 5 or up to 10% of however much money you're earning. Another one is integrated right into YouTube is what's called channel memberships. They take 30% though of the money. And what's nice is the convenience, the infrastructure that YouTube provides you. People don't have to leave the platform, but there's also the economic aspects. I think that if your channel is small and you're even in that nano influencer range, the mistake here is investing, I think, too much energy to get like 2 people supporting you at $5 a month. That $10 is great, but that's my only caution, is that if you're going to launch fan funding, it's a topic for another episode, I would say do it right and do it at a particular tipping point. Because again, just reverse engineer it. Even if you were earning $50 or $100 a month from Patreon, like it all helps. But the way my mindset was when I was starting and waiting tables at Red Robin and doing my YouTube hustle, side hustle, was I was like, man, I can just earn more money getting more tips from waiting tables at Red Robin and pay my bills that way while focusing on building my influence up as opposed to just launching something prematurely. So when it comes to fan funding, I just think there's a certain point when you should launch it. Some people do it too early. I think that's the biggest mistake. But here's one of our new monetization updates. So YouTube in 2023 lowered the bar to entry for the YouTube Partner Program by offering an earlier or reduced route to getting in the program. So now you only need 500 subscribers, 3 videos published in the last 90 days, and either 3,000 hours of watch time in the past year or 3 million YouTube Shorts views in the past 90 days. So they lowered the barrier to entry. Now you could get in the program. You apply. You have to be in a country that is a part of the program where you need to live, where it's actually available. But this does not give you the ads on your
access to ads on your videos, but it does give you channel memberships. So now you could have people pay for premium content and member perks, super chats and super stickers, which this is where you give fans the ability to live chat and do an animated image that pops up paid. Typically, this is on live streams or if you premiere your videos. And then super thanks. You could generate revenue from viewers who want to show extra thanks for your content. These come in on our channels. If we add massive value in videos, I get like a $2, in a way, like a tip or a $5 tip. And again, it's just super cool if you have a really deep dive channel you're building up that adds value to viewers. Once you cross this threshold of 500 subscribers, 3,000 watch time hours, you can start getting super thanks. And you also unlock the ability to promote merch through YouTube Shopping, which is a new feature on YouTube that's integrated with like 6 different surfaces, a shelf on shorts, a particular product highlighted on shorts, a shelf below videos, different aspects there. So that's kind of cool. But to actually get ads running on your videos, the requirements are still the same: 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of watch time in the last 12 months, or 1,000 subscribers with 10 million valid public shorts views in the last 90 days. You still have to jump through those hurdles to fully get ads on your videos, but it is cool that the qualifications have been lowered, which just gives us, again, even more opportunity in a 2024 world, which brings us to number 7, which is AdSense revenue. Now, this one's probably obvious for you. And one of the reasons why you're on this podcast episode is because you're like, okay, I have a small channel. I'm not approved for the partner program yet. But once you do get approved for it, of course, this is a cool way that a nano influencer, 1,000 subscribers, you hit the watch time threshold, boom, now AdSense is a stream of income once you're approved. And we will be talking about, I think, the fundamental problem that you face is, Sean, how do I get more subscribers and how do I get more views? Because even though it's possible to make money with a small channel, the goal shouldn't be to stay small. You don't need a huge channel to make big money, but of course, all of our goal is to get monetized. And so I highly recommend that you join me for our free 5-day challenge, where we're going to be going through deep dive training, daily challenges to get you taking action and reaching your goals and stretching outside of your comfort zone. Tons of giveaways. It's going to be really fun. It's entirely free. If you go to tube1kchallenge.com, you can register. There is like a VIP upgrade where you can get some private Q&A with me in a much smaller group. There's an upgrade to our starter kit. But whether those things are right for you or not, go to tube1kchallenge.com or click the link in the show notes to register, because again, 5 days, deep dive content, entirely free. And it's up to you if you want to do the upgrades. But let's go into number 8, which is freelance work. So if you're a small channel, one of the things you could do is leverage your YouTube presence to attract freelance clients for anything: video editing, graphic design, writing, or other skills you possess. Now, this might not be relevant for your particular style of channel, but here's the framework I like to recommend if you have some kind of service or freelance offering. Your channel could teach how to, like you could give away information of how to do the thing for free, but then you also could market the done for you. And what's cool is over time, you can now start earning money on multiple fronts. Like, let's say, example, the skill of copywriting, which is writing persuasive marketing copy on social media and emails to drive sales for a business or a brand. Well, let's say your YouTube channel was actually about how small businesses could write their own copy and the best principles for copywriting. But then what you mention is you're like, and by the way, if this sounds like a lot of work or like you don't feel like you have the time, you can always hire me to do that work for you. So you could give away free information on graphic design and how to use Canva. And you also say, and I also have freelance services. That'd be like one way to think about it. And this could work into our 9th way of making money, which is also coaching and consulting. So you could use your expertise to offer one-on-one group coaching or services to your viewers. It reminds me of Nicole from Kids OT Help, one of our early Video Reiki Academy students, who has such a wild story about starting her YouTube channel, scaling it up, not just having massive success and building a big business on her channel, but eventually her channel being acquired, like her brand and business being acquired by corporate's kind of the wrong word, but by a brand, like a brand for kids. And then her hiring her back and her ultimately becoming a $1 million generating creator through all of these seasons and phases of content creation, which I hope also maybe paints a picture for your own journey. Like, I want to encourage you to get started, scale up, grow. You never know what doors of opportunity are going to open for you on the other side of being consistent and leveling up your skills. Well, all the way back when Nicole started to kind of be at the early middle stage of her career, one of the things she offered on her own website was just a private kids OT session. So OT is occupational therapy. In this case, occupational therapy that helps kids play, improve their school performance, aids in daily activities. And she charged $150 for a 30-minute consultation, which she could do virtually. So originally, I believe she was in an outpatient clinic, but then she realized I have these skills and I want to have a life and business on my own terms. And I see the power of YouTube. So she started creating content and she started to do affiliate marketing. Might've been a video about certain toys for learning for kids or best toys or school activities or accessories that you could outfit a room at home to create a learning environment and a play environment. Cool. So that's a video with affiliate marketing. Eventually she got monetized. Cool. There's ad revenue coming in. She started doing brand deals and sponsorships. Cool. That was coming in terms of people wanting to get in front of her audience, even when she was a smaller creator. And she then was also able to do coaching and consulting as just another opportunity. And it's not like that was like the phone was ringing off the hook or tons of people were buying that. But one of the things to consider as you build out your whole online platform is what links are on your YouTube channel. Where else are you sending people? I don't think you need a website day one, but maybe someday you have a website set up and all you need to ultimately be able to do this is you could actually just do like a paypal.me/Sean Cannell. And I could say, hey, pay me some money and I'll do some coaching or consulting with you, which I did early on, back when I was charging like $100 or $300 or $500 an hour early on because I had some video skills. These days, the number is much higher. That is number 9, coaching or consulting. And as a side note, I uploaded an episode about the biggest trends or it's coming soon. And one of the trends that is happening in 2024 is creators as consultants. So brands are increasingly using influencers for creative input into product development, creation of content for the brand to use on their own channels and their paid advertising, as well as creating a community of customers, with influencers providing an effective interface between brands and their audience. So this is a big trend. And small channels are underestimating the opportunity to work with, I think, even big brands. Let me give you an example. I was recently bought a couple SUVs at a local Toyota dealership. And really, my wife got 2 cars and I got none. Isn't that how it goes? No, I'm pumped about it. But we got like a Toyota Sequoia TRD, got a Toyota 4Runner, big Toyota family now. And I actually, when talking to our sales rep, they heard about what I did. And they're like, man, I got to introduce you to the owner of the dealership and like the marketing person. Well, as I sat down with them, what I started to just over coffee, just friendly conversation, was I started to say, if I was you, I would look for and connect with influencers of all sizes in the Pacific Northwest region, up the I-5 corridor. Now I have a particular set of skills. They're like, where would we find them? Because they don't even know that. So that speaks to, you got to be aware of like who your audience is. But I was like, you should work with, I know of a creator that's kind of more in the Arlington, Washington area, more of a lifestyle. And I was kind of like, she's not huge, but I was like, give her a car, lend her a car and pay for her trip to like go over the mountains to Leavenworth, Washington, film footage along the way. Again, kind of to that UGC creator level of like, even if it's not her influence that drives anyone to your dealership, now you have the content, but also what if you create a community of these different content creators that are in the local region? And so creators as consultant or coaching and consulting, I think is just something to think about. This one might be like not the most practical one for you at this exact moment, but the future is bright. And why can't you be the go-to expert in your circle? Or why can't you be the go-to expert in your city or your niche category? Again, we're underestimating the opportunity to work for like a local dealership and find some ways to maybe exchange some money, exchange some value, create some opportunities. And I want to encourage you to, again, start small, where you might be like, well, I need money. And borrowing a car is not going to be that helpful, but you're creating a relationship. So even if you could do some free value, a free stay, food, the goal isn't just that one thing. The goal is to demonstrate in your portfolio what you're capable of, them to see the ROI, and that can lead to the next thing. That builds your portfolio up. You can then, the next brand is a paid deal, or now you're stepping in the game at $500, then a couple thousand, etc. Which brings us to number 10, digital products. So with a small channel, you could create or sell ebooks, online courses, templates, other digital products related to your niche. One of our VRA students, Commander Hamey, is a card fighter. And so there's these different card games that people are playing competitively. Well, he ended up writing a book, a high quality book. He worked with an agency, but on how to win card fight tournaments. And I asked him about it. He said the book hit bestseller release on, when he released it, 100 plus copies sold in 1.5 weeks of release. He actually worked with a friend of ours, and we'll link to that episode if you've ever thought about writing a book, where I did an interview with my friend Chandler Bolt. And we can link that up in the show notes. He has a company called Self-Publishing School. And so that's pretty cool. Now, Hamey has packaged what he knows in a book. And check this out. He said 100 sold in the first 1.5 weeks of release. Now they're kind of trickling in, but it's an over 200-page book. I mean, it's tactics, strategy of all these different approaches to building your deck, winning card fighting tournaments. Once you've created something to sell, you can keep selling it for weeks, months, and years to come. So what's nice is, as a small channel, when you create your own product, your own ebook, your own online course, your own templates, you could keep selling that for years to come. And similarly, I mentioned Nicole earlier, she did the same thing. Now we're stacking. We call this YouTube income stacking. And Commander Hamey, he's under 3,000 subscribers. He's a nano creator. He's approved for the partner program now. And so he's stacking these things up. And this is how you go from making hundreds a month to thousands a month. I remember when Omar El Takori on his personal channel made a video about taking family photography. His expertise is many things, but photography was one. And in the video, he sold his own Photoshop Lightroom presets for just quickly making your photos look awesome. Well, he ranked a video, which means he made the video one time, but it kept being found in search. It kept being suggested. And from that one video saying, and by the way, if you want to buy my Lightroom presets for, I think, $10 or $20, you could just plug these right into, your next batch shoot and save tons of time. So valuable. So you start thinking about, as you learn, even just sales, a presentation, why is it worth $10 or $20? Are you kidding? Like, that's how much I'm going to spend at Wendy's later, And so if I could save 30 minutes or an hour and on my consecutive upcoming photo shoots and have my photos look better than ever and get a particular vibe to them. So that's a true digital product. It's literally a digital file that people purchase and then install in software. I remember him recounting that him and his wife, Amanda, were able to pay their mortgage for a couple months. He earned a couple $1,000s. And then eventually the video, kind of trailed off in its views, and he didn't continue to really promote it as he has done multiple things and launched his new show and still does some stuff at Think Media. What's the point? Digital products. And so as a small creator, I would go heavy on this one. My caution is that there's only so much time in a day, and you're probably learning how do I post videos and learn thumbnails and learn all this different stuff. And then also create a book or also create templates or also but there's sequencing to this. You're not going to do it all in one day, but you could accomplish a lot over the next 6 months. And what could you do over the next couple of years? So I would encourage a lot of people to be serious about digital products, because it really empowers you to not be dependent on ad revenue or brands or some of these other things. But it's sort of just gives you more tools in your tool belt for earning money. And one of the most untalked about ways of earning pretty significant money is promoting somebody else's digital product as an affiliate. In the industry, it's called JV partners or joint venture partners. And you could probably promote almost any digital product. But for example, if it's somebody's online course or their coaching program or their event, a lot of times the affiliate split is 50%. So if somebody had
on $1,000 online course or $500, think about that. 50% of that is $250 on a $500 course. And before you take the time to go make a course, or you take the time to figure out how to market and promote it, or you do all of that, if it's aligned with your niche or aligned with your audience or aligned with part of your audience, one of our Video Ranking Academy students, I remember, they said, I've only been 2 weeks into your course and I've already done $2,000 in affiliate commissions. Pretty cool. What they attached that to, though, was a screenshot of the vidIQ stats of how many views their entire channel had gotten. And it was 1,500 views. Now let's do the math together on the podcast. Their entire channel had only gotten 1,500 views. If you've uploaded a YouTube short, you know that like, oh yeah, I can get like 1,500, even if it wasn't that good. Like I got a couple of shorts. So it's not that much views. And yet he had already earned $2,000. That's how we want you to be thinking. And we call our Think Media podcast, Think Media. We want you to think different, think bigger, think outside of the box. And a lot of times the reason smaller channels suffer is because of a lack of information, a lack of knowing and connecting the dots. Again, sometimes there's some shady stuff and low quality online courses out there. Like I'm not ignorant to that. But if you find the right product from the right person that's rightly aligned with your audience, that's truly remarkable, that really gets the result and delivers on the promise, and the whole thing is all lined up, you do your due diligence. So there are some people who've built entire businesses off of just being JV partners and they like the leverage. They think about doing the customer service and the building out of an online course. It's a lot of work. By promoting others that you're aligned with, one other example would be like, let's say you had a running channel. Well, there's like marathon preparedness programs. My stepbrother, Alan Escalin, did an Ironman. And so he actually invested quite a bit of money in someone's educational online course and coaching program to prepare for an Ironman. No small feat. And he was not only financially able to pay for a pretty expensive program, but again, imagine if you were doing fitness, marathons, ultra marathons, or something even kind of adjacent to that, and it made sense for you to make a video, rank a video, and promote that person's thing. Because maybe you're like, yeah, I've done some athletic events like that, but I don't really have a program. Like I don't know the nutrition and all the different stuff. And so maybe it's something that's probably the best. You've personally taken that course. Well, again, let's say the program's $5,000. If you get 25%, it's over $1,000. So something to look into, and then definitely subscribe to the podcast because we'll be covering more of that in the future as well. And here's the statistic. The global e-learning market, AKA online courses, online learning, is expected to hit $1 trillion by 2032. $1 trillion. That's the total addressable market. So this whole world of digital products, of people leaning in to the power of e-learning, being able to from home, learn new skills, learn specialty skills, not have to get on a flight and pay for a hotel room and airline tickets and all this other stuff. It's massive and it's growing, and it's going to be like doubling over the next 8 years, according to the stats. And so you learning and sharpening your skills now, positioning your channel, growing your channel, it's nice just having this in your tool belt. Maybe there's not a joint venture partner that makes sense at this moment. You knowing about this will give you an advantage over the coming, not just months, but years. Which brings us to number 11, physical products. So you could design and sell branded t-shirts, mugs, phone cases, and other items to your fans. And then you could also think outside of the box. So I think about Mike Quist from Stone Coat Countertops. A very interesting story, by the way, of someone who also started their channel, grew their channel and kind of business was eventually acquired for a significant amount of money. So cool to see what is maturing in the creator economy. We're talking about people who are at not the end of their career, but almost like the jumping point. It's the end of us season into the next season. But I know our conversation here is for small channels. Again, I want to encourage you. You're not exiting your YouTube channel or creating any enterprise value on it day one, but what's your vision for your brand? What could you build? And one of the things that Mike did was originally they had a business in Oregon installing epoxy countertops in people's homes. So they're going out doing jobs, got a team, and as an alternative to proper granite countertops or this or that form of countertops, they could install epoxy countertops. Well, starts a YouTube channel, starts to do free videos to show people how to DIY, do it yourself, countertop installs. But on his website, if you wanted, you could buy an epoxy countertop kit with the various colors that you're going to put in there to swirl the effect or to give a granite-like look or marble-like look. And you could watch the free videos on his YouTube channel, but then go to his website and pay him to ship you an epoxy countertop kit. So this idea of physical products offers a lot of opportunity for the small channel. If you start leaning into what is the buy button that is going to exist somewhere around your YouTube channel or on your own website, I've learned that ultimately in online business, your income is directly correlated to the amount of buy buttons you have on your website. That might cause you to pause and say, I have 0 buy buttons on my website, Sean, and I also don't even have a website. So you're like, okay, well, day one, you're not going to probably build out an epoxy countertop install business and have this whole kit. But I found that those that are most successful think bigger than AdSense. I would recommend that day one, you don't necessarily build a physical product, but day one, you could be thinking about it. Man, someday I would love to sell my own version of this accessory or this kitchen accessory or this fitness accessory or this ham radio thing. Like there's a lot of things, and that could be a part of your vision that could be lucrative really later on. I also realized that I wrote 13 of these, not just 12. So I've got a bonus one coming up for you in just a second. And as a reminder on this super long episode of the Think Media podcast, and we got more to cover. If you want to learn more about all of the above, in particularly getting more views, subscribers, check out tube1kchallenge.com. And let me finish and then we'll land the plane on that. So number 12 is to generate leads and clients for your existing business. Now, you got a small channel. This is probably one of the best ways to earn money. So maybe you have an existing business, company, or agency. A couple examples, maybe network marketing, Mary Kay makeup or skincare, doTERRA essential oils, which I personally buy from a distributor and I love. Now, I know that sometimes network marketing gets a bad rap. I think the mistake there is it's usually if the product was bad and the company was sketchy and that there's those stories. But I also think it sometimes is there's an overly negative connotation there. Think about doTERRA or Mary Kay. These are incredibly reputable brands with products that people love. So if there's a product you love, you now have the ability to earn money off the products through your YouTube videos. And it's kind of like affiliate marketing, but different because now you have your own store, your own thing, and you've got the ability to build your team, your downline, right? So if it's a product you love and a company you believe in, I think it's actually one of the most slept on opportunities. And I think if you're a nano influencer that is in, say, health and wellness, well, there's tons of health and wellness. If you're a nano influencer in skincare, anti-aging, or if you're giving advice to women in their 40s or women in their 50s, the synergy between network marketing and your YouTube channel could be massive. The cool thing about network marketing is you do learn a lot of business skills and you are empowered with, if you will, your own products with a compensation structure. So there's a lot of due diligence for you to do there. And I'm not telling you to just blindly rush into whatever on a product you don't love and a company you don't believe in. But I think that's one opportunity. Now, another way to generate leads and clients for your business could apply to real estate, right? Real estate agents or the real estate industry, brokers. When you've got the opportunity to do housing transactions, you know, I think of real estate agents as like high ticket affiliate marketers. Here's what I mean. If you had a YouTube channel that brought you in a lead that ended up buying $1 million house and you get 3% commission, you know, I get 4% on cameras, you get 3% on the house. We just made $30,000 off of one transaction. When you start tapping into thinking like that, YouTube plus a more solid business model like real estate or professional services, accounting, legal, marketing, consulting firms. If your YouTube channel is lead gen for people signing up for some kind of professional service, again, you could make big money with a small channel. If you're a business owner, you have an agency. So like Jen DeVore Richter, when she had 546 subscribers, she sent us an email. She joined our program, Video Reiki Academy. She sent us an email. She said, I just had my biggest week ever in new business. I generated $11,000 in new business in 1 week from following what you guys teach. Now, mind you, she does marketing services for businesses. So that was where the income's coming from. Ad revenue off of a channel her size is number one. She's not even approved for the partner program. And even if she was, she's going to get like $10, $50, those types of numbers. Well, you tap into number 12, leads and clients for an existing business, and you figure out what that business is, then you could start
generating big money. And it's a different mindset. YouTube becomes a tool for your business, not the business itself. So it's almost like, I think categorically, there's entertainment channels, there's education channels, there's YouTube being the business itself, ad revenue, the channel memberships. You can make a great business off of just YouTube paying you, meaning they cut you the AdSense checks. You have some channel membership subscribers. People give you super chats. People do YouTube shopping. Like, they've created an ecosystem on YouTube. That's one model. The other model, though, is like YouTube is marketing and lead gen for a different business. I think the conclusion there is you getting self-awareness and charting a path, and you might have pivots over on your journey. But I love this number 12 one because I never want to be dependent on a platform alone. The future is bright for YouTube. I think it is the dominant video platform, but I think the next decade is going to be the best decade on YouTube. And it's a good platform to plant your flag on, but you want diversification. That's why we also encourage building an email list. Don't do all of the above all at once, but this is why SMS, text messaging, having a community there, or building a Discord group or a Facebook group. Diversifying your audience off of your platform is a smart move. Building up newsletters could be lucrative as a whole thing. That's a whole nother deal. I didn't even put it in the list, but not only do you have the newsletter, can you monetize the newsletter, but you could keep talking to the newsletter even if the algorithm changed or you had an issue with your YouTube channel. So number 12 is generate leads, clients for your business. And then number 13 is use your talent as a video creator for another brand or business. So essentially, pitch yourself to be hired by a brand. Let me give you an example. No one's talking about this, but again, you're a small channel. So what have you done? You've developed skills. You might be early, but you want to talk on camera. You have started to learn video editing. Maybe you've been a small channel for a long time. You haven't been able to break through, but the skills you've developed. So Trisha Hirschberger works for Kingston Technology. She's been doing it for a long year. So Kingston Technology has like memory sticks, RAM, all these different products they sell. Well, if you go to their channel, you'll see that she is like a host of a brand who I couldn't tell you the face behind the brand. And I think there's multiple creators on the channel, but she's been like a pillar. And she also has her own channel. Yet she's been working for Kingston for years. I don't know the terms of the agreement, but apparently it's been a win-win because they've been going for years. She creates content on her own channel. She's also hired by another channel. And again, maybe she loves it. Maybe her main channel, if you will, doesn't pay enough or what her financial aspirations are. So she also has this other opportunity. Bring this much more closer to home from someone I do know. One of our VRA students, Ermin from Monzon Media, got hired by Playground AI, which is an app and software product that does really cool photo editing, replace the background. You know, you take a picture, you're just in your office. Now you're in like a jungle with the power of AI and all this different stuff. Well, Playground AI has their own YouTube channel. Ermin also has his own channel. But what happened was he was able to, and we did a whole VRA show about it, which is a monthly show inside of our community where our students like break down all this kind of stuff. But Playground AI hired him, and that became a very lucrative full-time opportunity for him to create content for another brand. And so here's what you need to know. Brands and businesses lack content creator skills. They're often terrible at marketing, and they don't want to be on camera. When I was at that Toyota dealership, I was talking to them. I said, here's what I would do if I was you. One, identify if there's someone on your current staff that could start creating content for your own channel or your own social platforms. Is there somebody you could test? They've got the charisma, they've got whatever. Now, but the problem with that is kind of risky. And if they've never done it, they have no idea. But the people at that Toyota dealership, they're looking at me like, dude, we have nobody. We don't have content creator skills. We don't know what to do. We don't know best practices. So imagine if you're connected to the Think Media podcast community, you're a few months, years into this, you've invested in yourself, you've leveled up your skills. It's like brands want this. I'm not saying it's easy to maybe make the connections, but this is going to be a wave in the next 5 to 10 years of brands hiring individuals that maybe your channel hasn't broken through yet, but you have the opportunity to come on staff in a contractor basis. One video, maybe you do 4 videos a month, 1 a week for them. Maybe you're paid per video, but you can look it up. So if you look at Playground AI, you're going to see Ermin as the creator for the channel. And what you're looking for is alignment here because he's already kind of an AI software geek. There's kind of
overlap on his own channel with that channel, which is the best case scenario, right? Maybe you're passionate about a particular vertical, building up your channel, and there's a brand that's like, we need the talent. I think that's what to see yourself as, somebody who could create videos for us, be a face for us, because they might have 50 people on staff and none of them want to do the YouTube channel. So that could be an interesting opportunity that I believe is really existing in a 2024 and beyond world. So here's what the action item becomes. Learn digital marketing, learn content creator skills, develop your camera and your confidence skills. If you're open-minded, I believe that full-time on YouTube could be a lot closer than you think, but it also might be different than you think. We've covered 13 different ways of earning money as a small creator, a small channel, a nano influencer, a micro influencer. And a lot of these could start right away, but who knows? Maybe you could lock in a talent opportunity with a brand, with another business, start creating content from them. But that's only if you actually have those skills. And honestly, I think that this is actually one of the biggest opportunities for small creators in 2024 and really the next decade, is the opportunity that brands and businesses are looking for talent. They're looking for someone that they could hire to create content for them, maybe as a UGC creator or actually as a regular creator that's on their channel. In the example of Trisha Hershberger in Kingston, or Ermin and Monzon Media and Playground AI. But here is the next move. You got to develop the skills. And at Think Media Podcast, that's what we always encourage you to do. Always get 1% better with every upload. Learn digital marketing, learn social media marketing, learn YouTube best practices, and learn content creator skills, communication, persuasion, video editing. Develop your camera and your confidence skills. If you're a business owner, you already got a business. You're not worried about being hired by another business. But I hope that this episode shows that every creator has different approaches to this. And on the other side of you getting better and improving your skills, if you're open-minded, I think full-time could be a lot closer than you think, but it might look different than you think. You might be able to be full-time in the next month. Why? Because like Ermin, you get hired by Playground AI, and that gives you a place where, yes, you're creating consistent content for another business or brand, but then two, you're also able to work on your own channel in the process. The next 3 years are going to be the best 3 years in the creator economy, according to Goldman Sachs research. What they said is that by 2027, the total addressable market, the creator economy, could be a $500 billion industry, essentially doubling in the next 3 years. So massive momentum is coming to this industry. There's a lot of intangibles. It's not without risk. It's not without challenges. It's not without a skill gap that you need to close as you continue to level up. But we do know this fact. There is massive momentum happening. And so get committed, lean in, get disciplined, stop dabbling, start dominating, and really lean in. And I hope that you've learned a lot from these 13 different ways of earning money. And if you've loved this kind of content, I want to invite you to tube1kchallenge.com, because it's going to give us even more time to go deeper in all of these monetization methods. But more importantly, let's grow your influence. Let's get you more views. Let's get you to your first 1,000 subscribers or your next. And let's talk about practically how can you earn your first $1,000. These are the different methodologies, but let's close that gap and get that first 1,000 as soon as possible. That's what Tube 1K Challenge is all about. So we've been talking all about how to make money on YouTube in this deep dive masterclass. But if you're ready to take your learning to the next level, click or tap the screen to learn all about my 7R framework. This is how we rank videos so that we can create passive income with all the strategies we just learned. It's entirely free. If you click or tap the screen, you can watch that video. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel, and I'll see you in another video.